be mighty
मैं
would like
तेरे
to
क्या था मैं
take a
तेरे
win.
फर्स्ट बोली
Come on, you know where it's going, Tarzan. Come on, Tarzan. It's your turn.
6-2.
We're going to leapfrog to you.
6-2-8. I'm going to pick 6-2-8. I feel like they've made some very interesting... Oh, God, Max.
He's going to leapfrog you, Max, and go with 6-2-8.
How does that work?
I don't know.
6-2-8. I feel like they've done me well, like when I picked them yesterday. But that was on Sandhawk. But on this map, because they've been terrorizing a lot of teams. I feel like shoving them around, like forcing them away from drop spots, surprising them when they make some changes. So yes, I'm gonna vote for them.
See, I'm going for TJB. You want to know why? Because I want to see them step up. They were bottom of the table at the start of the day in 17 points. But I want to see them really show again, like China has a lot of strong teams. Like they were really good in league play. Again, they've fallen off extremely hard when it's come to the Super Weekend. Now, obviously, I can't really go into why that is. I'm not sure we're at all sure why that is. We're not sure why teams have fall-offs or rise-ups through Super Weekends or between league plays and Super Weekends. But we're only about a minute out here, and I feel like a lot of teams, again, really need to show the work they're putting in between games. I feel like for me, that's one of the most key parts, is like, are you using your clutch properly?
50 seconds बकाया है सिर्फ only 50 seconds.
Are you breaking down these rotations?
Only 50 seconds.
I feel like Lamborghini in match 1 really be methodical about the way he wants to enter the zone, and I'm assuming right, that he was kind of sure of how teams would come into that zone, and of course where or what teams would be coming from where to really kind of find that wiggle room in, which is so important to do, especially if the last person left alive.
Yeah, I mean, man, you're doing your little analyst segment sometimes, and you're on point, Jason. I just want to say, but it is true. I mean, you know that when you go towards those city finishes, that's something that Kalaris and Imperium bring up quite a few times when they talk about it, is teams tend to play on the outskirts to make sure they can move away if the city is not in the circle at the end. So he just knew they're all going to be in the edge. No one's going to play center. I'll just go center and chill. And that's what he did, and he got second place. So he was very good at understanding how teams are going to react to that type of circle. So big heads up to Lamborghini.
Okay, well, since Max spent, I was doing some analysis work here. Why don't you do the host work?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Tarzan and Jason, for the analysis there. But it's ready for our second game of the day over on Miramar. So we're going to send it to our beautiful casters. It's going to be Bleh and Imperium taking you through our second game.
Well, thank you very much for that, Max. Oh my lord, Max is so much better at hosting than Jason is. Who would have thought?
You know what?
Anyway,
like,
you agree?
Yeah, I agree. He's the best. He's totally way better than Jason.
No, I mean, jokes aside, I have to agree with Max. I mean, Jason can do everything. He can host,
Yeah.
he can analyze, he can cast, he can interview, he can act. No, he can't act. He cannot act. Jason can't act, but he can do everything else. Everyone's fantastic. But yes, here we are. Game 2 of day 2 of the first Super Weekend. It is going to be in Miramar. Jason said TJB. He's going to be rooting for them. At this point, though, Imperium, I don't want to say the F word, you know that other word. I don't want to use it, but I kind of feel like their performance in day 1 of the league stage, it might have been a bit of an outlier. Let's put it that way.
Is it the word fluke? Do you want to say the word
that's
fluke?
what I was going for. That is what I was going for, not the other one.
I was just gonna say, it's only the first week, Blair. I can't have you leave me now. But I don't think it's a fluke, but I do think, again, it comes back to teams in the Super Weekend are going to be putting in a little bit more effort and work compared to league stage. So making mistakes is a little bit more forgivable in the league play, and I think that helped Tong Jiao Bao perform pretty well in the league play, whereas Super Weekend, we haven't seen them really step up. Now, looking at where teams have dropped, it was an Eastern playing path. A couple of teams in Los Leones. It's a massive city. It is well able to hold 2 teams, even 3 teams, but with a couple landing on the outskirts, 6-2-8. There you go, Ray Joso. He gets caught out with his pants down. He's knocked and taken down.
Early first blood being drawn by Yu Yang, 6-2-8. Bit of a quiet game earlier, by their standards, of course. I'm sure TJB would have been happy to get the points they got in the previous game. And as to take a look at the overall standings, we have, of course, 6-2-8 at the tippity top at 69. Rico Infinity able to get that second place, just 1 point behind STE, followed by Infinity, and 4 rivals and Stalwart Esports in the 5th position. The gap is minuscule. First place to the 5th, just 10 points separating them, considering we are right now in game game 7 out of the 15 of the first Super Weekend here in Imperium.
And that's what I love when you look at the overall standings coming into today's games. Okay, we've only had one game today, but there was like 3 teams in the kind of, you know, the top 3. But now it's kind of extended to more, and I'm sure others will join in on the mix. If there's ever a time to say helicopter, helicopter, it was now. Lazy Boy pulling out the glider. It's gonna crash. I think someone should take away his pilot's license, because that was terrible.
I was enjoying it till the final few seconds, and yeah, shout out to the Observer production for cutting away from what would have been an ugly mishap there for Cryptix. But shout out to Cryptix for taking the glider. A lot of teams would usually.
It allows, all they have to do then is shift a little bit up north to the Valdemar hillside in between there and La Drolera, and they'll be in pretty much a prime spot for phase 1, avoiding a lot of the early rotations, avoiding any kind of interaction. So I really appreciate that from Cryptix inside the first couple of minutes of this game. As Infinity, they've looted up around the Tumasera area, held onto the church side. This is a great spot for them to hold on to, but again, 5 minutes in, they should be possibly a little bit more heavily looted, because I see no meds on one of the players there.
And we all know how meds can be the difference maker between getting the chicken dinner or not, as we saw on Orangle earlier, Lamborghini going up against the entirety of Rico Infinity. That the memory is still in my mind. Very, very fresh. So, as ST8, 628, now aware that they do have some neighbors in this massive city of Los Leones, and you are indeed correct. I mean, it's a city that can easily accommodate 3, maybe 4 teams, but if you take a look at the minimap, at the map rather, you can see that the majority of the teams are just kind of concentrated down to the south, like we have these 2 teams over here, or even further down south towards the extremities of the city. So, interestingly, quite a lot of teams opting not to head there. Instead, we have a lot of them gravitating towards, the Power Grid, Picado area, maybe towards Monte Nuevo, which is, why do you think that's the case, Imperium?
Well, Power Grid Monte Nuevo is just, outside of being normalized drop spots, it just gives great entry point into like most circles, and they're big areas, so they're able to move around. So I really appreciate those kind of like areas being held onto by the likes of Stalwart, Rico Infinity, and Monte Nuevo. They're good spots to hold on to and rotate from, especially. So we'll have to wait and see as the game goes on. One thing that MS Chonbori and 628 do need to consider is DeXavier. Now, DeXavier rotating like a little bit closer to Los Leones than I kind of thought they would, but maybe that's a targeted rotation. Maybe they want to get involved. It's something we'll have to wait and see. Never mind the fact that Genesis Dogma are coming from Porto Priso, so this eastern side of the circle, or the southeastern side, is pretty heavily congested 7 minutes in.
Yeah, quite a number of teams slowly grouping up as MS Chonburi. They managed to kind of extricate themselves from getting pinned down by their opposition earlier. That is, of course, from 628, but now they're going to have to go up against Genesis Dogma, who are in a comfortable spot. But again, multiple teams, as you pointed out, down southeast of Los Leones, so it could really go any way. One thing I will never ever question is going to be the Xavier and their ability to rotate, despite the odds being against them. Jasper will be found, and MSC, it's almost like just getting picked apart one by one. And NC2, I don't really fancy his chances. There's no cover, barely any, and one bullet is all they need to land on him. In fact, it is going to be a multitude of bullets, and he is going to meet a fiery grave inside of that, well, just blown up vehicle. Just an unfortunate start for MSC.
Hello, Darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Hate to see it happen, but it is what it is. The game goes on. Looking at Nova, they have themselves.
I'm glad you're not a good singer, Imperium, or else you might have got copyright struck there.
Yeah, of course. If I sing, I sound like a dying cat. Trust me. So you don't want to hear that.
So black metal.
yeah, exactly. I love the fact that we can both relate to that. Yeah, Nova in a really nice spread between Picado and Los Leones. They do need to consider that this is a little bit of a hot rotational area for a few of the teams. Luckily for them, there's less teams coming from the east because they're in their own cluster. So for the time being, the owner really need to worry about Tong Jiao Bao and possibly reject. But again, the spread is there. Deadeye's guys still in Picado. They need to start making their way out of there. And the next circle has popped up and it's gone down to southwest.
Yeah, Valle del Mar, we still have one member of Cryptics over there, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, I think. Oh no, is that Cryptics or is that?
Yeah, Lazy Boy Cryptics.
Yeah, there we go. Lazy Boy from
Valdemar,
Cryptics, indeed. Yeah, and they have a lot of real estate to work with, right? Like you pointed out, it's a good position.
This phase 2. For now, Genesis Dogma have been able to disengage away from that fight. They've joined back up. They're rotating into the southern edge of the circle. We still have Xavier and MS. Xavier, MS Trombori, and 628 in Los Leones, but Xavier are much closer to exiting that city as a 4-person team. While the Infinity, I questioned their movements towards the tail end of phase 1 when they were looting up the church side and Chumisera, and they still have a big spread. God Tunny is much further away from the rest of his team. That kind of worries me.
What worries me for the Chinese side is Tang Jiabao having to go up against their Chinese brethren in the form of Nova. Don't really want to face off against them right now this early in the game. TJB have a lot of work to do. Still have a number of opportunities, but you can see they're 17 points to their name at the end of 6 games. That's an average of like 2 points a game, if my math serves me right. Sorry, 3 points a game. So kind of a quiet start considering how solid they were in the league stage. As Infinity's melee, he's being hunted down by Marshall. Marshall really wants to get this knock, and why the hell not? He can't see anyone else nearby, but it looks like somehow a little too far away. Unless something goes really wrong, but the Marshall is being very optimistic, hoping to get that knock. He had a chance, he had a window of opportunity. Unfortunately, it has been shut.
But that's what I don't get about the Infinity, right? You know, you've been here since pretty much phase 1. You had prime opportunity, 11.5 minutes in, and you still haven't found a solidified spot to go to. That's really poor. So Mela was very lucky to dodge the bullets of that Cryptics player and keep himself alive. We did see Team Seeker lose a player at the hands of DRS. This is a bit of a pattern between these two teams. They seem to, you know, go against each other on the northern edge of these circles in Miramar, DRS and Team Secret, and they've both got to be careful because it could be the case where none of them really kind of gains a massive victory. Even if they win the battle, they might not win the war that is Miramar. We'll have to wait and see how phase 3 does pop up. 4 rivals outside of Picado. It's going to be an E shift. It's great for a lot of teams, but it's unfortunately a little bit frustrating for Genesis Dogma because they made a great rotation on phase 2.
Oh yeah, they did. And for Cryptics, I'm just going to keep an eye on them. The fact that they haven't just been stagnant, right, like you pointed out, in the southwestern side, but the fact that they moved on in, they were sneaking into the edges of Chumasera, that means they're in a very comfortable spot. They already have a player inside of the zone. Now they have to potentially contend against Infinity, though. In the meantime, Prestigo from Rico Infinity, fresh off the chicken dinner.
ब्रो जो भी न्यू आ रहा है प्लीज लाइक और सब्सक्राइब कर देना और मेरी स्ट्रीम को शेयर भी कर देना.
The decision whether to go for the res or to go for the trade has been made by Stalwart Esports. They get the knock, they get the finish, and they know Rico Infinity are somewhere nearby.
टीम के 5 नंबर टीम है, इसके 2 प्लेयर दोनों चुके हैं, 2 बकाया हैं.
So I'm assuming here
अभी टॉप 1 पे आ रही है DX टीम टॉप 1 पे आ रही है.
It's kind of going to be a bit of a war of attrition where no one really comes out on top.
It's a little bit easier for Stalwart. Overall, they made a better rotation than Rico. You can see the separation from Rico hurt them, and that's how they lost Preciso. Now, they do have one much closer to the edge of the circle, so they have a little bit of a pincer effect.
Number 2 पे DRS
are in a
चुकी
little
है.
bit of a better position to push should they get another knock on board. We see Nova losing a player, and this is where, and I'm not saying Nova aren't trying, but this is where Nova maybe need to recognize, hey, we cannot always pull out these separations, this splits. Maxman highlighted how they've been able to get away with some big splits. Teams are learning. Teams are looking at the VODs, are recognizing that if you come across a player that looks like one of the Nova boys, he's most likely going to be on his own. That's an opportunity for a free kill.
Free kill was what El Chapo was looking for, but he's gonna have to zig
Oh,
and zag his
gee.
way out from that position as Tunny from the distance.
वो नेट क्यों पंगे पा रहा है नेट क्यों पंगे पा रहा है यार नेट मत करो ऐसा हमारे साथ
Possible, but for Infinity, I have to agree with you. You pointed out
Number
how
1 पे
11 minutes into
DX
the game,
है,
they still
DX.
hadn't really solidified their position, so maybe they were overthinking things, Imperium, but they managed they managed to regroup now, and they're in a very good spot right now. Who's not in a good spot is Rico Infinity out in the open, as it is going to be Cryptics just keeping them at bay. But bear in mind, the one player Cryptics have inside of the safe zone has been knocked down. The res has taken place, however, but that's going to leave these two players up against remaining members of Rico Infinity. Great nade though,
R8T का एक
and
प्लेयर
Marshall
नॉक
pushing
हो
on
चुका
in.
है
Fidan might not be expecting this.
SK Ton, are you joining up with this fight or are you not joining up with this fight? That's something that I'm a little bit curious about, because if he's not joining up with that fight,
और जोन
to me,
में
Fidan
फाइट
should just
शुरू
completely
है
look to disengage. And I respect that from Cryptics. They're prioritizing their circle. They're prioritizing as a team, joining back up as a full squad, because the circle
और
shifted down
56
south. The editor
बंदा
Tumis area is
अलाइव
in
है
play,
जूम
and
देखो
the
और बंदे
Infinity
देखो
couldn't ask for a better gift than this
56
shift right in
55
the center. A lovely spread on board. All the teams are going to have to come
ग्रेनेड
around
से
them.
कुत्ते की
However,
मौत मरते
another
हुए
team that's looking very nice
कुत्ते की
is
मौत ग्रेनेड
Reject.
से मरते
They're in
हुए
the Church Hill. They have a lot of information. The teams coming from the east, it's not going to be easy for them.
For sure, like for Reject that position, I've seen games won and lost from that very hill. And right now, Team Secret, they can see for Rival just going on past, but they're gonna hold on their trigger finger. No one in the vehicle, so they're just gonna make sure they make their way into... For Rebels are playing a very dangerous game. You're just driving around, and after the number of vehicles I've seen blown up on in Miramar, I mean, I've lost track. They're very fortunate.
Golden Mirado, GG, nice bro, Golden Mirado, nice.
So, for the time being, for the time being,
लड़कों ने Golden Mirado पकड़ी हुई है, nice, so very nice. Golden Mirado.
It's good cover, but as I alluded to, it's far too early to pull off that kind of rotation. I worry about them because Deadeye's guys, barrage and aids, they're going to go down.
Imperium.
GD Guards की फाइट
Imperium, I feel
शुरू
like
bro.
his days are numbered, and
Grenade
eventually he
फेंकते हुए
might just...
और
well,
लड़का
just, you know, out of fate to black
बच गया
or ride the
वो
lightning,
आग
whichever's
आग
gonna
से
happen,
झुलस
well,
गया
it's
लड़का
gonna
आग
be
से
made.
झुलस गया
It's not going to be poetic. It's just going to
आग
be
से
brutal,
कुत्ते की मौत
brute
मरते
force from the
हुए
Mongolians as
और
they make quick
वो
work of SK Tan.
कुत्ते की मौत मर गया
For Rico
आग
Infinity,
से
the way they've just hemorrhaged players throughout this entire map, it's there's no trade, no res is possible. The spacing between the players seem a little off. I'm not too sure. They're feeling lethargic after the
nice
chicken dinner,
grenade
but we're
bro
going to be
nice
heading
oh
into yet
grenade
another
से एक
fight.
और कुत्ते
It
की
is going
मौत
to be MS
मरते हुए
Thornbury 2 alive, going up against a very dangerous
Beautiful.
Xavier, but Ponside just peering around the corner,
beautiful.
gets the knock, and he's going to get a finish as well in the Xavier.
SC
Quite able to do anything. They're getting wiped out. They do get a few kills to their name, but great for MS Thornbury. Sure to lose a couple of players, but they're going to be happy with that.
Very good indeed. Stalwart turning their attention
बहुत
over
ही
towards
नाजुक
DRS.
सिचुएशन
They get
चल
a
रही है
knock
भाई
on
बहुत
the
ही
northern
नाजुक
edge of the
सिचुएशन
circle. DRS being put under pressure. Enigma Galaxy's in front of them. This dip is a
कुत्ते की
pretty
तरह
good
एक
dip
दूसरे के
for
जान के
Enigma.
दुश्मन बने हुए हैं
Think
कुत्ते
of
की
a
तरह
wrangle, it's that kind of similar dip outside of the museum building. In a wrangle, it's a very good spot for Enigma because compared to 4 rivals, it's a much more kind of, not necessarily like open space, but it's less at risk and age while still holding on to that kind of lovely
MSC चल
protection where they're
बसी
able
पूरे
to
का
pick up,
स्क्वाड
shoot,
टाटा
pick up,
बाय
and
बाय
shoot. So I really like that for Enigma. We'll have to wait and see, of course, if they're still going to be inside the circle of phase number 5. DRS still trying to apply a good bit of pressure. Nobody's tempted fate on a fight against 4 rivals, so they're still holding on.
nice
to their
spray bro
little dip
और
inside the
come
side
on
of the
come
road.
on come on गाड़ी को उड़ा
No
दो
one's able to res Marshall for Cryptics. He's so far away. There was Fidan getting the knock, so at least I've confirmed where Fidan is, but he's going to get him killed eventually. So everyone's just waiting for the next zone to shift. Rough for Enigma Galaxy. It's hunkered down inside the shelter. Team Secret have a much more solid position to play from. And for DRS, AJ by the roadside, roadside all alone in TJB. They're hoping, they're praying the zone's going to favor them, but unfortunately, they will be forced to move up from what is a very nice position initially, but now they'll have to cross the road, and that's not going to be comfortable for them. For Infinity, though, it is looking fantastic. They haven't had to move for the past, I think, what, 10 minutes now?
Yep. Despite it taking them a good kind of 10, 11 minutes to join up as a full squad, indeed, for the second half of this game so far, they haven't had to move an inch. However, Deadeye's guys, they need to start puffing up their chest. They need to start making some noise and getting some kills. One of their players is knocked. The revive should come through. Reject gonna try and put it
for Pika. He'll be taken out. So Starwood Esports top has been knocked down as well, and this is a mad dash for safety. And 4Rivals are doing a great job trying to keep TJB at bay. The problem is they need to make a move eventually, as well as AJ finally gets knocked down. His teammates are nearby though, and Deadeye's guys from this position, they're in a great spot to gatekeep almost every single team coming on in, and they are just completely obliterating everyone downhill.
They're doing exactly what I said they needed to do. Make some noise, puff up your chest, be a little bit aggressive, get those shots off, and suppress those teams around them. That's the end of Nigma Galaxy. You are out of here. 4Rivals are being put under massive pressure by Team Secret, but until that knock comes out, Team Secret can really do nothing about that push across the road, especially because of the fact they're down to 2 players, so they don't really have the bodies to help themselves. Across the buggy they go, and 4Rivals get 2 free kills. Good effort from Team Secret, but good protection from 4Rivals.
Yeah, that cross the road was going to be brutal in any case, and unfortunately for Team Secret, they will fall without a single kill. And amongst all the commotion, you might have missed out on the fact that Starwood Esports as well have been eliminated. They did lose a number of players on the rotation, one by one, not quite able to get the reses going and getting third-partied and fourth-partied at times. As 4Rivals now going for an uphill climb. Fortunately for them, there's no one right above, but Deadeye's guys are nearby. Shifu will be taken down by Appy, and 4Rivals looking to make quick work of Deadeye's guys. Because Deadeye's guys are, you know, they have to take a fight on 2 fronts. One against Infinity, where they have to move on up, and then at the same... Oh, Miller gets spotted out. That's a huge spot from on top. How does he even spot him out?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They didn't need to take fights on 2 fronts. They split their focus and they paid the price. They're lucky to stay up as a 3-person team, but in my eyes, they needed to focus on one direction and head in that one direction. Instead, they tried to split their focus and they got burnt a little bit. Yes, the knock from Fragboy came out very nice indeed because it slows Infinity down, allows the revive to come out, but Deadeye's got to have that coordination a little bit better executed in future games. Infinity, they've got to focus on what's behind.
That opportunity to just make their way into the zone where they're going up now against Nova, right? And Nova, unfortunately, I like how he's trying to keep
और भी
them
नाजुक सिचुएशन पर पहुंच चुकी है। सिर्फ 7 टीमें अलाइव हैं, 7 टीमें, और नंबर 1 पे जा रही है INFIN 7 किल के साथ। इसके 3 खिलाड़ी जिंदा हैं और 1 नॉक है।
Seemingly, thus far, it looks like it is going to be either Infinity, 4Rivals, or maybe Reject, who have been kind of quiet thus far.
लड़का बहुत ही
so it's important that they use that to their advantage. The high ground of the church is
नाजुक
of course
सिचुएशन
allowing
में।
them to maybe do a little bit more in terms of gathering information
Oh,
on the other
20
teams around them. Share the
बंदे
bloodshed.
अलाइव हैं
Deadeye's guys
और
push forward
जून
back,
चक्कर।
getting a knock on the 4Rivals. This is good, and if the revive could come out on top, it could fare even better for Deadeye's guys. In yesterday's Miramar game, by the way, they got 16 points, so this is probably their kind of best map so far in the PMGC.
Let's see if they can continue to deliver. As 4Rivals, it's a bloody, brutal battle against Deadeye's guys.
CS,
They are
CS के 5 kills, DE के 7, INFIN team के 7 kills.
Spotted. Never mind, Reject will strike, and that is going to be it for 4Rivals. They do manage to find 5 kills, but they will be knocked out, and simultaneously, we bid goodbye to Cryptics as well. We're down to the final 5 teams, 14 left alive. Infinity with all 4 still
14
alive and
enemies
kicking,
alive,
as TJB
14
are
enemies.
pinched. They are trapped between a multitude of teams, and I don't think they're going to be staying alive for much more longer.
They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. 6-8 still holding on as a duo. The circle shifts up north. Tongja Bao are out of here, and we're left with their final 4 teams: Infinity, Deadeye's Guys, Reject, 628.
628 are dangerous, Imperium. You can never, ever, ever count them out. Sarl,
Oh, no.
maybe getting a little too ahead of himself. Very, very fortunate to survive that. But now Infinity, their attention will be diverted by Deadeye's Guys on top, trying to find something. But Tunny will instantly
गलत
put a bullet in
सिचुएशन
his
में
head.
लड़का
It's gonna
नॉक है,
knock him
बहुत
down.
ही
The
गलत
rest is
सिचुएशन में
possible,
नॉक
though, as
हुआ है.
Uzi will be knocked
इसका
by
रिवाइव
Shifu.
हो
So
पाना
this
नो
trade will take
इम्पॉसिबल.
place, buying them at least a few.
इंटरनेट फिर बैन पेश करते हुए
Everyone, and I'm too sure about this, but they're fine from